Starts right off with a guy's head getting run over. Welcome back to another book club. Today I'm going to be talking about 8 fiction crime / mystery thriller books. One of these books I read faster than I've read any book ever. I could not put it down. I've got some Stephen King, Colleen Hoover, popular ones, as well as one of my favorite authors. If you're new here, I talk about the last 8 books that I read. I give you a quick plot with no spoilers, as well as my review and my thoughts on it. Today, though, I'm switching things up. I am going to be cracking this wine as well. This is the 19 Crimes wine. I've heard tons about this and I finally got it. I wanted to do something special with it. These are all kind of crime genre. I thought this would be the perfect video to do that. Anyway, as always, this is a book club, so it doesn't just go one way. Leave your comments down below if you've read any of these, what you thought. I'm gonna crack this. So this one is the Cali Red and this one is Snoop Dogg. Stand by. I can't find my corkscrew, so I'm gonna use this corn holder. I'm gonna try to. What do I do? Oh, I've pushed it in. Okay, I'm just gonna finish a bottle of white wine that I already started drinking. I wanted to show you guys this. Pretend I'm drinking this. The first book that I'm going to be talking about is Right Behind You by Lisa Gardner. I've currently been reading a book by Lisa Gardner all day. I love her. The prologue starts a boy watching his dad kill his mom with a knife and then him killing his dad with a baseball bat to protect him and his sister when he's very young. And then it switches to Shelley, a cop in Oregon who responds to a call of shots fired. So she gets to the gas station and she finds 2 dead bodies. Then switches again to the point of view of Charla, a 13-year-old girl who is the sister of that boy. Her foster parents and then adoptive parents are retired FBI that help out on cold cases. It also shows the point of view of the FBI dad. They eventually identify the shooter at the gas station, and it is Charla's brother, the boy from the beginning. And he's also shot and killed his foster parents as well. I've never read the first 150 pages of a book so fast. It was so engaging and it got right into it, and I gave this a 5 out of 5. I really liked this. The next book is The Silent Wife by Karen Slaughter. This is actually part of the Will Trent series, which I haven't read any other books. It still makes sense, but I would definitely recommend reading them in order and not do what I did, because I did get confused. The prologue is a girl is in a fight with her roommates. She thinks that one of them stole her hair clip. She storms out, she goes on a run, and then all of a sudden she's getting attacked in the head with a hammer. Then it switches to the point of view of GBI agent Will Trent. He arrives at a prison because there's been riots. When they're there, he gets handed a note saying that he has information, as well as he was wrongfully accused of murder by this man named Jeffrey. So this gets into an awkward situation because Will, the man who gets the note, is dating Sarah, and Sarah's ex-husband who died is Jeffrey. Then switches back in time to Jeffrey's point of view when he was working this case of this girl, Becky, which happens to be the case that the guy is talking about being wrongfully accused on. And this happens to be 8 years ago, so it keeps switching between now and 8 years ago. It was confusing for me because they were both dating this girl named Sarah at the time, so I couldn't quite keep track of which case we were talking about. I've talked about Karen Slaughter before and I do love her, so that's just a disclaimer before I read the rest of these notes. Something that was frustrating in this, and I know that she does, is just re-explain things over and over. Like every time they discover something new, they just restate the evidence and restate what we know and the suspicions, and then the next chapter they just re-go over it again. I also wrote that I guessed the killer. I said, we'll read more of the series, but I don't think she's a genius writer. Trigger warning for this and any Karen Slaughter book, I think, is that it's very gory. The next book is The Chestnut Man by Soren Svenstrup. This is a Netflix series, and I always love it when I see this little symbol on a book because I love reading a book and then watching it. This is this man's first novel, but he did write the Netflix show The Killing, which I watched years ago and I loved, so that also made me buy this. This starts in 1989. Marius, a cop, going out to his last call of the day. A farmer that they know, his animals have gotten out again, so he's just going over to tell him to wrangle them up, except he finds them all dead. And he goes downstairs and he finds a very strange room with these chestnut men. They're little figures made out of chestnuts and matchsticks. It then switches to the present day, but it was hard to get into because I found that the point of view switched every 3 pages, so you're just establishing what's going on and whose point of view, and then it switches to a different point of view. Christine, a 12-year-old girl, has been missing for 1 year, and she's a politician's daughter, so it's been a high-profile case. Another woman is murdered near a playground. Find a fingerprint on the chestnut, and it happens to be fingerprint of Christine, the missing girl who disappeared a year earlier. This was really, really good. A lot of twists and turns, and I definitely didn't guess anything until the very, very end. And the show was really, really good too, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5. The next book is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I want to preface this by saying this happens a lot with books. People will really, really enjoy it, and then say that they enjoyed it, so other people start reading it and it's not their taste, so they get really disappointed. This is a slow burn. This is not a thriller. This is not a murder mystery. If you're expecting something fast-paced and exciting on every page, this is not for you. If you're looking for a story, if you're looking for art, if you want to visualize and escape and feel emotions, then this book is definitely for you. If this is your first book that you've read since high school though, I think you're gonna have a hard time. I want to give a trigger warning for sexual assault and racism in this book. This has beautiful descriptions of the marsh and the area. It starts in 1952 with a girl named Kaya. I love that name. Her mom walks out because of her abusive father, and slowly her brothers walk out as well, leaving just her alone with her dad. It then switches to 1969. Chase Andrews, a popular guy in town, being found dead in the marsh under mysterious circumstances, and everyone suspects Kaya because Kaya happens to be living a different life than everyone else. This was so good. It made me feel so many emotions. I laughed, I cried, I felt deep sadness. It made me angry, very angry at times. The characters have amazing connections. Sometimes you read books or watch shows and you just don't understand why some characters have such deep relationships, but this book, oh, you just feel it. And until the last page, you're just hooked and shocked. I don't have the attention span to watch movies, but I really do want to see it. The next book is The Institute by Stephen King. I always take little sticky notes when I read these books just so I can remember what happens for you guys, but I didn't take notes for this. I just wanted to really enjoy it. It starts off with a boy, Luke. His home is broken into and his parents are both murdered. He then wakes up kidnapped in this very, very weird institution. I read this and then I watched the newest season of Stranger Things, and it's so identical. An institution of gifted kids, and they all have kind of a different type of ability, and they're put under tests and conditioning and all sorts of things, and they have rules and they can't leave. It's about them just like trying to escape and trying to get back to their families. I really loved this, and it's Stephen King. He goes into so much detail. There are just so many storylines, different things going on, and I just love it because you just get to know the characters so well, and then it ends and you actually can't believe that you're not gonna see those characters anymore. The next book is The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. I was so excited to read this. She has a book that just came out today and it's on the way to me, and I'm so excited to get it in the mail. Lisa Jewell is amazing, literally my favorite author of all time. Her books are so amazing and so intricate, and I don't understand how she writes them, where she starts, where she finishes, because they just like have so many lines and go like this. And very often she'll switch point of views, go in between past and future, and they kind of like meet up and you kind of link up things. So that was the case with this. It starts in 2017. Tallulah, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She goes out on a date with her boyfriend, Zach. Her mom, Kim, insists that they go out on this date night because they have a new baby and they haven't gone out since. However, they never come home. His mom isn't super worried and thinks that they just ran off just to get a little time away because of the baby. Her mom, Kim, is extremely worried and knows that she would never ever leave her son Noah or her mom. And then it switches to 2018, the perspective of Sophie, and she has just moved into Maypool House, which is on the grounds of a school. Her boyfriend has just accepted the position of the head and he's going to be teaching there. She happens to write crime novels and she knows about this missing girl that disappeared a year earlier. Early on, she happens to see a sign on a post that says dig here. So she digs there and she makes a discovery that she thinks is linked to this case. Goes back and forth between these perspectives and you slowly piece together new characters and figure out how Tallulah knew them. It's just amazing. I love Lisa Jewell. She's able to put such a story together with so many details and little crumbs that you just don't think will come back, but then they do. The next book is No Exit by Taylor Adams. This book is the book that I read super fast. I didn't take any notes on it because I just read it so fast and that would slow me down. I also know there's a movie to this. It starts with a girl, Darby, who is heading to see her mother who happens to be dying. She's in this crazy snowstorm going through these mountains. She pulls into a rest stop station to wait out the storm and she gets stuck there. There's a bunch of other people in the rest stop station, so she kind of gets to know them a little bit, and she eventually goes outside to try and get service so she can make a call to contact her parents. But when she's out there, she happens to see in the window of a van a child trapped in a cage, except there's literally nothing that she can do. There's nowhere to go and she can't call anyone. Even though this is like winter and snow, it would definitely be a good summer read because it's just so fast and you could get through it in one day. It kept me so engaged and it kept dropping little like clues and hints and things that you knew were gonna come back later but you just didn't know how. And this was written from the point of view of a girl, but you could definitely tell that the author was a man. I just kind of love it when that happens. It's not a bad thing. It's just very interesting that you can tell that some of the things you're like, a girl wouldn't think that way, or like a girl would notice that. And then Verity by Colleen Hoover. I've got some opinions on this book. I had to read it because of all the hype, of course. I feel like everyone has read it by now or heard of it at least. Major trigger warnings for just very mature read, weird creepy content, sexual content, as well as child abuse. So let's get into it. Starts right off with a guy's head getting run over. It's from the perspective of Lowen. She meets a guy that also witnessed this happen and he helps her get cleaned up. He needs to rush off to a meeting. She needs to get to a meeting with her publisher as well, and it turns out that their meetings are with each other. So Verity Crawford, his wife, is an author of a super popular series that got in a car crash. It's unknown to her fans, but she's unable to continue writing the series. Lowen is an author herself and has some work out there, and so she is offered $500,000 to finish Verity's series for her. She accepts. She gets to her house and sees that she is on life support and she is very much not able to write or even let her know any of her ideas for her stories. So she is given permission to go through Verity's whole office and just go through everything and try and find manuscripts, try and rack her brain and see what her process was and what she had in her brain for these next books. So she finds a manuscript of her life that is obviously never meant for anyone else to read. And so it kind of goes back and forth in between some of the manuscript and her experience of going back and reading through it. You find out that Verity and her husband's 2 daughters died in 2 separate accidents. I wrote page 142 predictions, no idea what's going to happen, where this is going, and I definitely did not. So one of the big things that I heard about Verity and that really split people is people don't agree on the ending, and I didn't understand what that meant, but my goodness, I don't know what I think. However, on the writing and the book itself, I did think it was cheesy. And I do understand why her writing is so popular because it is a very fast read. Like I was saying before, if you've not read anything since high school, these books are definitely gonna be what you want to start with because they're just so fast and they're not super genius. They don't have tons and tons of layers to them. I have only read just this one. I don't think I intend on reading her others. Anyway, I'm glad I read this because it was definitely what the fuck. So that was this book club video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Got some good suggestions. Please let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought. Drink your water, everyone. And if you are not subscribed already, then please do so. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.